The Big Whack presents Buffalo on the Rise, sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process. Welcome to the television show devoted to local business, Buffalo on the Rise, with your host, Joe Chili. There's an entrepreneurial spirit in Western New York that's putting our area on the cusp of greatness. Each week, Buffalo on the Rise features local business leaders and decision makers who are shaping our future. If it's about local business, we'll talk about it right here, right now, during Buffalo on the Rise.
I'm Joe Chili. On this edition of The Big Whack presents Buffalo on the Rise, we all want to look our best. The revolutionary new technique from Dr. Kaplansky of Kaplansky Dental will make you smile. Having trouble sorting through all the paperwork for Medicare, Medicaid, and other important concerns? Get clarity on it all from the Clarity Group. Plus, we'll check out what the Roycroft has to offer, from history to fine dining in the quaint Village of East Aurora. All on this edition of The Big Whack presents Buffalo on the Rise. I'm Joe Chili. You can listen to me mornings on The Big Whack. Joining us today on The Big Whack's Buffalo on the Rise is Dr. Kaplansky, and I want to welcome you to the show today. I'm impressed by some of the things I see about you. You know, we do background, obviously, before we do a program like this. So I wanted to look up some things about you. First off, you started in business with a friend of mine in Niagara Falls, which was a while ago, but all of your certifications and things like this, you'll have to explain some of these things to me, because if I look up dentists in general, I see a couple of things. Graduated from here, did work here, or whatever, but you're board certified in implant dentistry, diplomat of the American Board of Oral Implantology, fellow at the American Academy of Implant Dentistry, fellow International Congress of Oral Implantologists, fellow Academy of Dentistry, certified Zaga Center, which is kind of like a mystery to me. We'll have to ask you about that. But what do all these things mean? To me, this means that all dentists are not the same, right? I mean, but when you start looking at all these things, how long did it take to get these? And was it something that you planned originally, or did you say, these are the things I'm going to go for as far as certifications?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me
Sure.
to the program. It's my pleasure to be here with you. It's a lifelong journey, really. This obviously took years to accomplish, and unfortunately that's what we see often now in practice, is many younger dentists just fresh out of residency are doing these procedures, and they probably don't have enough experience yet to perform them.
When you start talking about things, and you start talking about implants, because it's something specifically that you do, is there something that they teach you in dental school with regard to implants? You know, something that all dentists do. And how did you move past that to come up with your own Teeth Now method?
Absolutely. So in dental school, you get some really basic rudimentary kind of education on all aspects of dentistry, on all the different procedures. So they can't really focus on anything too in-depth. And then after you graduate, that's when you expand your knowledge, then you kind of go more into the areas of your interest. So my area of interest was dental implants, and I really wanted to get much deeper knowledge in that area. And that's how it all happened.
Dental implants. When I have a very basic knowledge of these things, so I'm going to ask you, but you know, you start thinking about things like bone grafts and the prep work that goes into this, and it sounds very invasive to me. And as just a normal individual, I like to avoid pain.
Absolutely, yeah. We all do.
So, I mean, you probably look the same way. You probably looked at this and said, there's got to be a better way to do this procedure.
True. So traditionally, dental implants aren't new. So they've been placed routinely for probably about 30 years now, with a lot of data, a lot of research, and it's backed up by science. Now, Traditionally, the thinking in dentistry was that you have to prep the site first. So if the site or the bone in the area is deficient, you have to build it up. And how do you build it? By grafting bone, either from a donor or from animals. You would take the bone, graft it in the area, and then grow the bone, then place the implant. So that basically means multiple procedures, multiple surgeries, a lot of time and healing, discomfort, obviously, and patients, had a very, very long journey for absolutely no reason. So what we did, again, based on the current research and the modern science, is we changed the tactic a little bit. So we look for solid native bone instead of using grafted bone that unfortunately a lot of times later turns into mush and it's not even usable. We use patient's native bone, which is stronger usually, doesn't require additional surgeries, and gives us better and faster results.
Is it a long, involved process?
The Teeth Now procedure that we kind of created is very streamlined. You literally, in 24 hours, you take patients from either no teeth or decayed, non-restorable teeth to permanent teeth, 24 hours.
Is it something that lasts the entire life, your entire life?
It can. It depends on a lot of factors. Most, again, scientific research shows us longevity of dental implants anywhere from 15 to 25 and more years. But a lot of it depends on patients' general health, which can change throughout their lifetime, and also on the maintenance, on care and maintenance. So we do insist that patients come back for routine hygiene so we can check things and clean things.
Are you trying to tell me that people don't generally take care of their teeth?
Sometimes they do.
You know, flossing is a big thing. You're trying to keep your teeth. Right. I think that this is fascinating in itself. I think the fact that it's less invasive, your procedure, is a big thing. Not just, for myself. I mean, I hate to sound like, oh my, I don't want to have to go through this, but, I had parents and grandparents that went through dentures, and many, many different kinds of dentures, and dentures that didn't seat right, and dentures that were constantly slipping, or whatever the case may be. So
we see it very common. It's a very common experience. Patients really hate their removable appliances. So I'm yet to see a patient who is happy with their denture. So that was another push in creating a process that would give people permanent teeth. So the teeth that they wouldn't have to remove every day to clean. Teeth that wouldn't hurt them when they chew, teeth that wouldn't fall out when they laugh. That's what we did.
So if you hate your removable, appliance, you'd want to give Dr. Kaplansky a call. Dentistry by Dr. Kaplansky, 8038 Rochester Road in Gasport. Phone number 716-772-7500. drkaplansky.com is the website, drkaplansky.com.
Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following.
I'm Joe Chili. You can listen to me mornings on the Big Weck. Joining us today on the Big Weck's Buffalo on the Rise is Brian Worth. Brian is the Business Development Director for the Clarity Group of Western New York.
Today, Joe. I appreciate it.
Nice to have you here. And I have to mention, because of the fact that I am a client of the Clarity Group, they made things very easy for me. And one of the folks from the Clarity Group, one of the principals, Karen Olson, just contacted me yesterday, as a matter of fact, because we're in that period, that enrollment period. And she said to me, you may be happy with what you have, the insurance that I have right now, but she goes, there may be some things you want to tweak for next year. So we're going to meet and go over those things. And she does it every year. Even if I forget, she contacts me.
I love your testimony when it comes to Clarity Group. I can't ask for anything better than that. What I would tell you, though, is yes, everybody right now who is a Medicare beneficiary is right in the heat of things. They've probably got those large stacks of mailers and all of that good stuff on the table. Hopefully they toss most of that stuff out because a lot of it's just sales solicitation, if you will. And it could even be from out-of-towners. But we're right in that annual election period, right? So that's that time where Medicare beneficiaries get to pick their plan moving into 2024. It goes from October 15th until December 7th every year. But I really urge people to go ahead and take advantage of at least coming into Clarity Group and having an assessment done to see if their plan still is going to match up to their current needs, and if there might be something that may be a little bit better of a fit out there, going into 2024. A lot of things have changed.
One of the things that I thought was great, and I couldn't really believe, because, you don't get anything for nothing nowadays. It just doesn't seem that way, right? But when I initially contracted with the Clarity Group, I gave Karen the names of my doctors, medications I was taking.
Perfect.
And then she met with me and said, here are the things. She didn't tell me, force me into a plan. She just said, here are the things that you need to look at. Here are the things that and she did the legwork, basically, is what I'm saying. And then I'm thinking, what's this going to cost me? It didn't cost me anything.
Yeah. One of the wonderful services we're able to provide at Clarity Group is that our services come at no cost to our clients or to the consumer, right? So we're able to kind of take the multitude of carriers that we have, insurance carriers who have a whole bunch of different plans in what we call their portfolio. We kind of bounce them off of each other and see, what's really available out there for each of our consumers. And, people are able to just kind of walk in if they'd like to any of our centers, again, free of cost, and they're also able to make an appointment. But we can really take a deep dive into comparisons of the plans and what will fit them moving into 2024.
And people don't get when they start, when you look at this, you say, well, there's A and there's B and there's C and there's, what are all these things? They think, Medicare is Medicare. What do I need anything extra for? But you really do need things extra for prescriptions and things of this nature, right?
Yeah, so you bring up the different parts of Medicare, right? And right now, really what we're talking about is Medicare Part C. That's that all-in-one plan offered by a private insurance company or carrier that encompasses typically Medicare's Part A, B, and D. So we can kind of get all of those grouped into one. But when you bring that up, you bring up a good point. I want people to know that for 2024, what we're seeing on original Medicare, that's that original Medicare Part A and B. Oftentimes you'll tie a prescription drug plan to that, known as Part D. But Part B premium rates are going to be going up. So for those individuals who are single, making no more than $97,000 a year, and those people who are married making no more than $194,000 a year, those are basically what we would call the base rates. They're going up from $164.90 up into $174.70 for next year. So on a fixed income, that could be a large ask. We also know Social Security just gave about a 3.2% raise to the cost of living, which is equal to about an average of $57 or so. For the average Social Security recipient, but they're taking a little bit of that away, right?
And this is less than what Social Security has gone up in the past couple of years because of inflation, right?
It is, yes. I think that last year the increase was about 8.6%, and again this year is going to be about 3.2%, and then the premium's rising, so obviously they're seeing that premium rise. They're taking a little bit off of what they're getting in their raise. One of the exciting pieces of news that I want to share is that in 2023, a lot of Medicare beneficiaries or recipients aren't aware that New York State has a program. It's called the Medicare Savings Program. With that program, what they do is they will pay a Medicare Part B premium for those individuals who financially qualify. There's no asset check or asset limits with this program, and that has raised to any seniors or Medicare beneficiaries that are married, making under $3,077 per month, or if you're single, up to $2,288 per month. So we're talking big savings, $174.70. And I mention this because at Clarity Group, your local resource, right? We're here for you in the community. What we do is about 80% social work, 20% of it's honestly insurance.
And people, listening today, viewing today, should give you a call. Don't just stop in. I mean, it's easy to stop in because you have many locations.
Yes.
But they should call and set up, and then you can tell them what they should bring with them or what they should know, right?
Yeah, because of obviously being the busiest season, we certainly would ask that people do their due diligence, give us a call, set up an appointment with us, and we'd be more than happy to obviously go over their needs assessment and just kind of see where it is that they really fit within this whole Medicare Advantage system. A lot of what's not talked about this time of year is Medicare supplement plans. So what we've seen in some trends, this year, Medicare supplement plans have increased. There's been increases on average of about 12.9% for the premium. It's a different way to get your Medicare health insurance, okay? We've seen where companies have filed as much as 18 and 46% for an increase. And so they're getting high premium rates right now. And a lot of times those people, habitually, they've never looked at another plan because they've been comfortable with paying a premium out front and having a lot of coverage on the back end. The issue is that for 2024, we now have some plans out there that have been tailored to actually fit and compete in the Medicare Advantage space directly with Medicare Supplement.
So the website that people should be checking out, www.claritygroupny.com. And for more information and answers to your questions, contact Clarity Group by calling 716-393-3437. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following. I'm Joe Chili. You can listen to me mornings on the Big Weck. Joining us today on the Big Weck Buffalo on the Rise is Amanda Falkowski, who's a programming manager from the Roycroft Campus. Good. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Nice to have you here today. Give us a little bit of the history of the Roycroft Campus.
Sure. So the Roycroft was a business started in 1895 by a gentleman named Albert Hubbard. He basically believed he could change the world with his writing. The problem was nobody wanted to publish him. So he just decides he's going to start his own printing press, where he makes really beautifully handmade books and other printed materials, filled not only with his words, but the ideas of people that would inspire him. One of these books would go viral, as they say. It was an essay called A Message to Garcia, and it's all about hard work leading to success. At the time, it would become the third best-selling book in the world, just behind the Bible and the dictionary, and it would turn the Roycroft into almost like a tourist destination. People wanted to come here and see where their favorite book was written or meet their new favorite author, Albert Hubbard. So Albert decides he has to transform his home into a fully functioning inn and restaurant. At the same time he's building the inn, he realizes that he needs to furnish and decorate an inn. So he hires craftsmen to do that all on site. He also realizes that the Village of East Aurora is too small to provide enough heat and electricity for all of these operations. So he starts his own power plant. So the campus really grows and thrives out of necessity, and at one time over 500 people were employed there. And it lasted until the 1930s. Unfortunately, the Great Depression would have a hit on the industry, and all of the buildings were sold off kind of piecemeal. And it's not until in the 90s, early 2000s, that things have started to be reborn and revitalized back towards this more artistic or historic use.
Now, he actually published the books, put them together, bound them and everything on the Roycroft campus?
Yeah, all on the campus, especially too the art of illumination, which is that really fine, beautiful detail work. If you imagine monks back in the Middle Ages doing things on the Bible, they were doing that as well, and that is really what turned the Roycroft's books into such a huge success. People loved how beautiful they were and the fact that they were all made right on hand.
Do you ever get any confusion with L. Ron Hubbard?
Absolutely.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, it's part of our docent training manual of how to answer this question, actually.
I never really thought that anybody would think that, but you know, it's just a question that comes to mind. What kind of things can you do on the campus today?
Oh, you can do so many things. I mean, probably the most famous is the Roycroft Inn. It's known for its great Sunday brunches, but also just beautiful inn and dining experience. But if you were to head across the street, there's a beautiful gift shop. There is a space that you can take all kinds of art classes, anything from learning how to operate a printing press, like the original Roycrofters, to jewelry making, all kinds of different painting classes. And then we also offer tours throughout the year, more historic walking tours. And through those you can see my favorite spot on the campus, which is our formal museum, and see the actual physical objects that the Roycrofters were making.
I was going to ask you that about your favorite part of the place on the campus. And why is the museum the favorite part for you?
Well, on a personal note, that's why I was hired for the campus, is to help start this museum. So I have literally built it from the ground up. But I also am a big history nerd, so I like to be in the museum and teaching people and being able to show them these objects that they would not have had the chance to see before, and teach them about the importance of not just the Roycroft to Buffalo and East Aurora history, but there's a lot of aha moments of making connections to national and international history as well.
Do people ever do things like get married at the Roycroft Campus? Do they?
At the inn, more so. But one of my coworkers actually got married on the campus last summer, and it was beautiful.
Oh, that's fabulous. What about special events? We have, Thanksgiving, we have the holidays coming up. Special events at the campus?
Yes, we have an annual holiday show. It's happening December 2nd and 3rd. It's totally free of charge. There's about 50 artists that will be scattered in the different buildings around the campus. So it's a great place to get your holiday shopping done, get something really unique and special for the people that you love, but also maybe pick out something for yourself as well. I usually do a lot of my own Christmas shopping during the show.
What kind of things can you get? What kind of items would you purchase at the campus itself?
Well, in our gift shop itself, we represent over 100 artists from all over the world. I think our pottery is probably one of the most popular and successful sections. We also do have a beautiful jewelry department. Some great paintings with handmade frames. And there's also a really great selection of giftware items as well. Some people come every year to pick out a special ornament for their tree during the Christmas season. So our retail director does a great job with keeping everything fresh and new, so people can keep on coming back.
Do you do different signature ornaments for each year?
We don't, no. Sometimes we'll do a little giveaway during the holiday show of almost like a scavenger hunt if you go to each building. We used to do that a lot in the past, but honestly, since the pandemic, we haven't had the chance to do that, but maybe we'll bring it back.
A lot of decorating at the campus
a lot of decorating. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You have volunteers to do that, or are you doing that all yourself?
A combination of both. Yeah. It's on everybody's calendar, usually mid-October. Decorating day.
All right.
So.
What's the website for the Roycroft Campus?
www.roycroftcampuscorp.com.
And a phone number if people want to contact you?
716-655-0261.
Amanda Falkowski, thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thanks, Joe.
We certainly appreciate it. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Roycroft Campus by calling 716-655-0261 or go to roycroftcampuscorp.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by the following.
Thanks for watching this edition of The Big Wack Presents Buffalo on the Rise. For information on this and other shows, go to our website, bigwack.com, and find out how you can participate on the program if you're a hometown business. I'm Joe Chili. Thanks for watching and listening to The Big Wack, Buffalo's oldie station.
The Big Wack Presents Buffalo on the Rise was sponsored by Dr. Kaplansky Dental Implants. Get new permanent teeth in 24 hours with our exclusive Teeth Now process.